If I told you that Napoleon Bonaparte, the greatest general in Europe, did not save France with cannons, but with money, would you believe it? In 1799, when Napoleon returned to Paris, the entire nation was on the edge of collapse. The national currency had lost 99% of its value. Banks across the country had fallen. People no longer trusted the money issued by their own government and traded instead with gold, silver, or even wheat, because wheat at least carried real value. The government could no longer afford to pay its soldiers, and across the continent, the great powers of Europe were simply waiting for the perfect moment to finish France once and for all. France did not need another general. It needed a financial architect, and Napoleon became that man. After the French Revolution, the government issued a type of paper money called assignats, notes backed by land confiscated from the church and the nobility. At first, the idea sounded reasonable, even clever. But the government did not stop printing. The presses ran day and night like an addiction spreading through the entire political system. And within only a few years, the price of bread increased more than 600 times. Soldiers' wages became worthless. Ordinary people turned their backs on the national currency. Black markets flourished. Gold and silver replaced paper money, and pure bartering returned as a daily method of survival. France, once a prosperous empire, now resembled a failing state. When Napoleon assumed power, he understood a single, uncompromising truth. Without stable money, there can be no nation. And with that understanding, he began one of the most daring financial reforms in European history. The first decisive act Napoleon took was not a military one. He founded the National Bank of France, the Banque de France, in the year 1800. This became a turning point for the entire French state. The new central bank controlled the issuance of money, stabilized interest rates, halted the reckless printing that had destroyed public trust, and restored credibility to the French franc. Napoleon understood a fundamental principle: money only has value when people believe in it. So instead of relying on political promises or emotional appeals, he created a new foundation. Money would be backed by a strong central bank, supported by real tax revenue, supported by real production, and not backed by imaginary land valuations inherited from a chaotic revolutionary era. Within only 6 months, the French currency began to stabilize, and the nation finally saw signs of financial recovery. But a stable currency alone was not enough. Napoleon knew he needed a continuous flow of revenue to maintain the army, operate the administrative system, fund national projects, and pursue the ambitions he carried for the French Empire. So he built the most modern and disciplined tax system in Europe. Land taxes were calculated based on real production, ending the era of noble families hiding their assets. A nationwide inventory of wealth was conducted, allowing France, for the first time, to understand exactly how rich or poor it truly was. Taxes were collected not by private contractors, but by trained officials, eliminating corruption that had infected the system for generations. Every revenue and every expenditure was recorded with military precision, strict, disciplined, and impossible to manipulate. As a direct result, national revenue tripled in just 4 years, giving France the financial fuel it desperately needed. Napoleon also held a unique philosophy regarding war. He declared, war must feed itself. He refused to let the French people carry the entire financial burden of his campaigns. He struck fast and ended fast, because long wars drained a nation, while quick wars produced both victory and revenue. Every defeated nation was required to pay massive war indemnities in gold. After the Battle of Austerlitz, Austria alone paid France an amount equivalent to 3 billion modern US dollars. Whenever Napoleon captured a city, he immediately took control of its treasury, ensuring that the spoils of war became the financial strength of the French state. Gold, silver, and goods seized from defeated armies were used as real collateral in France's financial system. Under Napoleon, war was not merely a military operation, it became a financial engine powering the empire's expansion. Yet even with money and military success, Napoleon knew an empire could not survive without clear laws. For an economy to grow, it required stability and structure. So he created the Napoleonic Civil Code, unified commercial law, protected property rights, and standardized contracts and transactions across the nation. These changes brought clarity and reliability to daily life. Merchants across Europe were finally able to trade across borders with confidence, secure in the knowledge that their agreements would be honored under a clear legal system. This became the foundation for commerce, for industry, for investment, and for the rise of a strong French middle class. With stability restored and confidence renewed, the French economy flourished once again. With a stable currency, a disciplined tax system, a strong central bank, and a unified legal framework, France rose to become the most powerful empire in Europe. The currency stabilized, the treasury overflowed with revenue. Soldiers were paid on time and with real value. Trade revived across the continent. Industry expanded rapidly, and French influence spread outward in every direction. In less than 5 years, Napoleon transformed France from a bankrupt and chaotic nation into the most dominant empire of its era, not through military might alone, but through a masterful reconstruction of its financial architecture. People around the world often remember Napoleon for his great battles, his brilliant strategies, and the vast empire he controlled. But perhaps his greatest legacy is not military victory at all. It is the financial system he built, a system that brought an entire nation back from the brink of collapse. And remarkably, the foundations he laid more than 2 centuries ago did not fade with time. The model of central banking he created, the principles of monetary stability he enforced, the discipline of national finance he established, and the clarity of law he championed, these remain the blueprint for modern economies even today. Nations around the world continue to operate, consciously or not, on the very structures Napoleon engineered at the dawn of the 19th century. His victories reshaped Europe, but his economic architecture shaped the modern world. And the lesson he left behind, that the strength of a nation is built first on the strength of its money, remains as true in the year 2025 as it was on the day Napoleon first walked into a collapsing Paris and decided to rebuild a country from its very foundations.